Boccaccio's Decameron, second day conclusion, and some other stuff. This story threw the whole company into such fits of laughter that there was none of them whose jaws were not aching, and the ladies unanimously agreed that Dioneo was right, and that Bernabo had been an ass. But now the tale was ended. The queen waited for the laughter to subside, and then seeing that it was late, and everyone had told a story, and realizing that her reign had come to an end, she removed the garland from her head in the usual way, and placing it on Nephile's, she said to her with a laugh, "Dear sister, I do hereby pronounce you sovereign of our tiny nation." And then she returned to her place. Nephile blushed a little on receiving this honor, so that her face was like the rose that blooms at dawn in early summer, whilst her eyes, which she had lowered slightly, glittered and shone like the morning star. There followed a round of respectful applause in token of the joy and goodwill of her companions, and when the clapping had subsided and she had recovered her composure, she seated herself in a slightly more elevated position, and said to them, "I have no wish to depart from the excellent ways of my predecessor, of whose government you have shown your approval by your obedience. But since I really am your queen, I shall acquaint you briefly with my own proposals, and if they meet with your consent, we shall carry them into effect. As you know, tomorrow is Friday, and the next day is Saturday, both of which, because of the food we normally eat on those 2 days, are generally thought of as being rather tedious. Moreover, Friday is worthy of special reverence, because that was the day of the Passion of our Lord, who died that we might live. And I would therefore regard it as perfectly right and proper that we should all do honor to God by devoting that day to prayer rather than to storytelling. As for Saturday, it is customary on that day for the ladies to wash their hair and rinse away the dust and grime that may have settled on their persons in the course of their week's endeavors. Besides, in deference to the Virgin Mother of the Son of God, they are wont to fast on Saturdays, and to refrain from all activities for the rest of the day as a mark of respect for the approaching Sabbath. Since, therefore, it would be impossible on Saturday to profit to the full from the routine upon which we have embarked, I think we would be wise and well advised to abstain from telling stories on that day also. It will then be 4 days since we came to stay here, in order to avoid being joined by others. Remember, they're isolating, they're hiding from the plague. I think it advisable for us to move elsewhere. I have already thought of a place for us to go and made the necessary arrangements. Our discourse today has taken place within very broad limits, but by the time we assemble after our siesta on Sunday afternoon, at our new abode, you will have had more time for reflection. And I therefore decided, since it will be all the more interesting if we restrict the subject matter to our stories, to a single aspect of the many facets of fortune, that our theme should be the following: people who, by dint of their own efforts, have achieved an object they greatly desired, or recovered a thing previously lost. Lest each of us, therefore, think of something unusual, or at least amusing to say to the company on this topic, due allowance being made for Dioneo's privilege. The Queen's speech met with general approval, and her proposal was unanimously adopted. She then summoned her steward, and having explained where he should place the tables for that evening's, instructed him fully concerning his duties for the remainder of her reign. This done, she rose to her feet, her companions followed her example, and she gave them leave to amuse themselves in whatever way they pleased. And so the ladies made their way with the 3 young men to a miniature garden, where they had whiled away their time agreeably before supper. They then had supper, in the course of which there was much laughter and merriment, and when they had risen from the table, at the Queen's request, Amelia began to dance, while Pampanea sang the following song. The others joined in the chorus. If 'twere not I, what woman would sing, who am content in everything? Come, love, the cause of all my joy, of all my hope and happiness. Come, let us sing together, not of love's sighs and agony, but only of jocundness. and in its clear burning ardor, in which I revel joyfully, as if thou wert a god to me. Love, the first day I felt thy fire, thou setteth before mine eyes a youth of such accomplishment, whose able strength and keen desire and bravery could none in truth find any complement. With thee I sing, Lord love of this, so much of him lies all my bliss. And this the greatest pleasure is, that he loves me with equal fire. Cupid, all thanks to thee, within this world I have my bliss, and I may in the next entire. I love so faithfully, if God should seize us from above, will grant this boon upon our love. When the song was finished, they sang a number of others, danced many dances, and played several tunes. But eventually the queen decided it was time for them to go to bed, and they all retired to their respective rooms, carrying torches to light them on their way. For the next 2 days they attended to those matters about which the queen had spoken earlier, and looked forward to eagerly to Sunday. Here ends the second day of the Decameron. Now, this is something, they're taking the Sabbath off, but they're going to meet and start telling stories again on Sunday, which for most Christians probably seems pretty strange because, for most Christians, Sunday is the Sabbath. Practice has not always been the same, and in this particular time in Florence, the Sabbath was considered from noon on Saturday to noon on Sunday. And since they're meeting in the afternoon, Sunday afternoon is after the end of the Sabbath. Also, to be noted, they are maintaining social distancing. They went out away to avoid the plague and avoid people, and they are going to continue to avoid other people. These stories are how people wait out a disease and don't go crazy from boredom. So I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'm gonna find a way to stop this. Bye-bye.